lighting people, for as long as we've been alive, the GE brand has been a leading name and a very important name in the lighting industry. And as you're also probably aware, the General Electric company has exited the lighting business, selling off many of its pieces to various new owners. One of those major pieces was the commercial, industrial, indoor and outdoor fixture and lamp business, once known as Current, powered by GE, and now, after being purchased by an independent entity, is known as GE Current, a Daintree company. So we thought today would be a good time to catch up with the president and CEO of Current, Manish Bhandari, to learn about his perspectives on the lighting industry and how he's going to maintain and grow the legacy of the GE brand. Manish, hello, and thank you for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
Thank you, Al. I've been looking forward to it.
Manish, it's been 2+ years since GE sold off its lighting business, and you folks have spun out outside of that mothership. So this undoubtedly gives you folks more autonomy. How would you define your vision and your strategy now that you're no longer part of this behemoth industrial company and you can define it as a lighting company?
It's a company in an investment mode. It's a focused professional lighting and controls company. But let's talk about where we come from here. We have existing strong strengths and leading industry positions in areas like industrial, horticulture, roadways, signage, our key accounts with the enterprise control systems. These are the things that we have been known for. At the same time, our commercial fixture arena has been a place where more investment was required, and that's what we have been working on. But one of the other elements we got to recognize about this company is it is probably the widest portfolio of lighting products and services within one company. Not too many people know about it, but we have our entire chemical coatings business on LED phosphor coatings. And then, of course, the source or the lamp or the luminaire. That's where this company started and the lighting industry started. We have a pretty large offering in fixture space in multiple areas. And then the controls piece itself. So, for all the way from coatings to controls. So you kind of take that back. And as we looked at the company 2 years back, we said, as we become a focused company, what we are going for is the first and the most fundamental thing in any business is, what's your customer focus? And our customer focus is very wide ranging. It is the key accounts, the channel, the distribution, they're the complete lighting industry market. And then you kind of start looking at the product lines themselves. And, driving continued innovation has always been there, but increasing the depth in the product portfolio is where the investments have been going, some of them organic and some of them acquisitive. And then when it comes to the segments themselves, the C&I piece of it, we always had the commercial piece of the business, but then the value line had to be introduced, and the architectural is the one which we have been going into it. But as I stand back here, Al, probably the biggest element which has changed in the company has been the people and the values that we work with here. It is very different. As you yourself said, we are not part of a behemoth here, but as a standalone lighting and controls company, we had an opportunity to be a very dynamic, fast-moving company. And that happens only when you have the people driving that to happen. So our values today, which we define as bold in action, outcomes matter, and do the right thing. Our group of people that we have either inherited through deep GE heritage or the ones, largely industry specialists who have come in from outside. As a combination, we've become a very dynamic company, and that's where it has been the most fun part.
Well, it sounds like an exciting culture and a lot of growth happening in many different areas. And when you consider all those product categories that you rattled off, I certainly wasn't aware of some of those you mentioned. And when you think about all the logistics that goes into making products in all those different categories, you're reliant upon shipping and logistics and supply chain and parts and pieces coming from all over the world, probably. That's a major sore spot for a lot of industry manufacturers right now. When you folks are giving a lead time and a promise to a customer, how are you backing that promise up, making sure that what you're saying is correct because you're relying on all these other factors that might be not 100% in your control?
Well, all true, all true. But this isn't our first rodeo. It's a company with deep roots we have the critical mass of purchase. We are a very large company and have an extended global supply chain established for years and years now. And then sometimes when you have the disruptions in the market, you need cash in order to lay it out within the inventory pipelines. And so, we are well financed and well equipped to do all of that. But let's parse these factors out on what is happening. As I look at it, demand within the industry itself, obviously part of it is the pent-up demand factor, which comes in after the last 18 months we've all been through. But the other one is the product mix has changed significantly, at least for the near term, because the reality is the specification grade projects aren't going to move as fast as the value series or the commercial series. A lot of them tend to rely on imports, or at least some imported components. And that's where you start getting into the supply chain issues which are there. And then the minute you start talking about the logistics piece of it, now you are not in the lighting industry alone. Because if you're trying to put a container on a ship, you are competing with every other industry which is out there. So what is beginning to happen is that on the component side and the shipping side, the lighting industry gets caught up in what is happening in every industry today. And then the pricing piece of it, I think to an extent it is driven by these factors that you mentioned, Al. But then the other part of it is also, it's been a while that the LED cost curve has been going asymptotic on all of us. And I think that cost curve has played itself out, and there is going to be a degree of stability in that, regardless of inflation or not. But when we speak about GE Current, what we are looking at is, as an independent entity, we started re-engineering our supply chain almost 2 years back. The first one was that we basically decided to bring all value add close to the consumption point. And that process started, and frankly, we are significantly done with that whole process that we had initiated. Then the other piece which came in was, we made multiple investments internally in order to either automate or to put in lines which allow us to basically not be that reliant on imports at all. The other piece which came about was on the distribution logistics piece of it. We, in partnership with a company called Transplace, we have completely revamped our distribution network. Frankly, we have 5 new additional distribution points now, which allow us to go in for stock and flow business using new logistics. So, you combine all of these, I think most of our customers would tell you that given the times, we've actually done well by most of them.
Well, no, that's great to hear. And certainly, yes, it is a multifaceted and complicated experience trying to manage all those different processes. And when you consider all the different product categories that you make, one important category, of course, is the LED lamps. Made to replace, commercial sources that used to be, HID, fluorescent, and others. One of the reasons why Philips, OSRAM, and GE exited the lamp business was because of all the changing dynamics in that space. So with that now being part of your product line, a major part of it, how would you folks say you're doing in that segment, and what's your plans for the future?
Well, as the world knows, we invented the source. So for us, it's a part of our company, and it'll always be a part of our company. Traditional will play itself out. On the LED side, actually, the one which excites me the most is our entire new range in the hazardous application arena. I think that has been an exciting development here. And that's where the roots of innovation lie for the company, to about constantly do something new, something which has got intellectual property associated with it. But as a company, we have evolved way beyond the source. And I think what keeps us occupied here is how we connect the source technology to the fixture technology to the controls piece. And the interplay between those is what this company is all about now.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. When you consider, looking to the future in the way you just described, one of the important strategies of any company of your size is an M&A, mergers and acquisitions strategy. About 4 months ago, you folks made a splash announcing the acquisition of architectural lighting manufacturer Forum Lighting. How has the marketplace reacted to that acquisition?
I think the reaction has been broadly, I would say the reaction has been completely positive is how I would look at that. But before I answer about Forum, as in I don't think most people know about it because we never announced it. We actually acquired a company in the green phosphor domain. And that is going to be commercially launched in about 6 months' time, but that was a pure technology acquisition. But when I come to the Forum piece of it, when you've done this M&A thing for a while, you develop a bit of a pattern recognition in these. And what I can tell you is that Forum is on its way to being one of the very successful acquisitions here. And what you see here is, Forum has very strong market position. It has very innovative designs. It has a full linear portfolio combined with a custom manufacturing facility in Pittsburgh. So it's very good at doing what it does here. But then there are areas where we bring synergy into the conversation. We bring new agents in unrepresented markets. We bring Tri-Gain technology. We bring the controls connectivity, a full marketing support, which a company of our size can support. Our SMT lines in Hendersonville with 4-feet boards, I think that has a complete fit into the Forum linear line there. So those electronics come from North Carolina. And then our procurement leverage, especially in the rather difficult times these days. You add all of that, add a degree of inventory support, what you have is, in order to provide innovative architectural products, you got industry-leading lead times coming in because we put best of the two companies together. And that to an extent, largely actually defines our script for what we are going to do in the future too.
Well, let's talk about that as far as your future script. A lot of business leaders don't openly talk about their M&A strategy, but after the Forum acquisition, I've had private and public conversations in which I've heard that you folks are actively pursuing more. And I think that's refreshingly bold to hear that there is that. So how would you describe your M&A strategy, present and short-term future?
The fundamental driver will always be the needs of our customer and our channel, which can be satisfied quicker through an acquisition, so be it. If I can do it organically, I would do it organically. But I think what you will find is that we will stay focused on the front end. You will not see us buying driver manufacturing capacity because we got plenty of it already. But on the more visible side, Forum to an extent, as I said, defines our execution approach. Don't try to fix things that are not broken. Leverage mutual strengths. That's how we intend to work with all this. And yes, you will continue to see activity from us, primarily in the architectural space, a string of pearls, so to say. I think what we also have is, and our investor base sees that value being generated and continues to be supportive. So that allows us to have multiple plays, and also the company in a financial position, it's a very good place to be in just now. So all that we talked about today, it is to build a strong, fast-moving company with highly entrepreneurial people, but also a company which works to continually strengthen the industry that we all work in.
Well, Manish, I always learn something when I hear you talk about currents business and the lighting business in general. So thank you for joining us today for 5 Big Questions.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Hey there, we really enjoyed that discussion. We hope that you did as well. Be sure to click that big LED logo next to me, and what that'll do is subscribe you to our YouTube channel so you don't miss the next 5 Big Questions interview. And YouTube subscribers always receive an early preview to the next interview before we even post it on the Inside Lighting website. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.